Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the first episode of my new show called No Demos, which is basically exactly what it is. What I want to do is take the Tone Machines blog, which I write, and turn it into video form. I figure there's a lot of people like myself who like to put on videos in the morning, like to hear and consume information in that way while they're getting ready for work or whatever they're doing. Maybe you're more of a visual person as opposed to a reading person. Whatever that is, this is for you, so you can consume it in that way. I started doing that blog back in 2011. I did it until about 2015, and then I took a long break. Last year, I decided to bring it back, and I've been going pretty hard with it ever since. One thing did change, though. The big focus that has happened, that has changed since I brought the blog back, is bringing up pedals that have a mystery to them. Maybe we don't know when they were made. Maybe we don't know who made them. Maybe we don't know anything about the brand. Maybe we don't know what the circuit is. We don't know a lot of things about a lot of pedals. Sometimes I just find photos online of something and I've never even held it in my hand. But I figure if I post it online, then the information's out there. It's more readily findable. You can search it. You can discover it. If you happen to be associated with it and you happen to look it up, boom, it pops up. And now, hopefully, the idea is that they reach out to me and they say, hey, I have information on that, or I have the actual thing. In the last year of doing that, I have had success with that. So I'm hoping in doing a video show, it's going to be that times 10. So that's the idea. So thank you for coming here. And I figure since it's episode 1, why not start with one of the most infamous and notable pedals ever to be featured on the blog, the SRS EQ Exciter. And you're probably thinking, what the hell is that thing? Why is he getting so amped about an equalizer pedal? And I'll tell you I'm not, because I don't care really about equalizers. But this is different. So if you have never read the blog post about that, if you don't know what this is at all, I'll explain it. Back in 2012-ish, there was a eBay auction for a pedal I'd never seen before. It was called the SRS VCO Disco. Now, with that pedal, when I saw it, I assumed, and by looking at the controls, that it was some type of auto wah. And I purchased it, because that's what I do. If I see something I've never seen before, and I don't know anything about it, most likely, if it's not some crazy, stupid price, I'm going to buy it. And that's what I did. Shortly afterwards, I also saw this pedal, but I thought, I don't need an equalizer. I'm not that hardcore of a collector that I'm just going to buy something that I have totally no use for whatsoever. Funny enough, a friend of mine who is that hardcore of a collector reached out to me because he does not live in the US and asked me to pick it up for him. So I did. Well, a couple weeks later, both pedals come in. The VCO Disco turns out to be exactly what I thought it was. A really cool Ottawa. After dissecting it, it turns out it's a Dr. Q, Electro-Harmonix Dr. Q clone of sorts. But when I plugged this in, thinking I was going to get some cool, like, oh, it's a filter and blah, 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 it was not that at all. This is actually one of the heaviest fuzzes I've ever played in my life. This thing can level walls. This can burn down empires. It can just destroy anything. And that was a surprise, a pleasant surprise. So I reached out to my friend who had purchased the pedal for and struck a little deal, also knowing that he's a big fan of Ottawa pedals. And essentially, we traded. And I'm sure I gave him some kind of money for it. We'll say yeah. If I didn't, I apologize, my friend. But yeah, so essentially we traded. He got that one, I got this one. And it has been legend ever since. I sent it out to Creepy Fingers, Brad. He dissected it, went through it, drew up a schematic, and we put it up online. And it turns out that it's some kind of derivative of a fuzz face, but also completely different. If you pop it open inside, you'll see it has 3 silicon transistors. There's actually more going on the other side of the board. It's kind of a wacky pedal, to be honest. The PCB does say SRS on it. I don't know. I don't feel like with the type of construction is, I don't think this was like a one-off homemade thing. I honestly think that this is a production style pedal. The pot's dated to 1977, so I'm going to go with that as a date. I don't know if this is a bud box enclosure. It seems like it, but I haven't really measured it up to any of my other pedals that come in those enclosures. But yeah, this thing is insane. It sounds so good. Actually, the most interesting thing about it isn't even the fuzz portion. The most interesting thing about it is this, the EQ. The EQ, instead of working like a regular tone knob, it's kind of stuck where it is as like a, a filter, cutting off the highs and bringing them back. It has this huge sweep. It's almost like a 4-pole, some kind of pole Moog filter. I mean, the sweep, there's like resonance on it when you start turning this thing down. It'd be like, and once you get down here, you just get this rumbling, huge fuzz tone. I've never really heard any other fuzz, especially from this era, do that or incorporate that into it. And it's just special. It's just a cool pedal. I like the look of it. But again, I don't know anything about it other than what I've told you. Don't know who SRS is. I'm assuming that's somebody's initials. I initially bought these thinking they were some kind of DoD clones, because maybe, I don't know, especially the early DoD stuff that's in the bud boxes. But this is nothing like anything that they put out. This is a completely unique thing, totally different from anything else that has ever been made. What is cool is that shortly after, Brad made the schematic available and we put it up online. It got further dissected and then clones popped up everywhere. Maybe you've actually played one, maybe you own one, maybe you've made one. You can still find them out there. So the name, the SRS EQ Exciter, is actually probably more well known than the actual pedal. Probably a lot of people don't even know what it looks like, but this is it. This is the only one I've ever seen, the only one that's ever come up for sale as long as I've been looking. I don't know anybody else who owns one, who's ever even seen one. And that is that. So, if you have any information, additionally, if you own one of these, if you own anything else in this series, if you are Mr. SRS or Mr. R or Mr. S, whoever you are, if you have any information on these, please contact me. Please hit me up. I'll leave my contact info in the description. And thank you for watching episode 1 of No Demos. We're going to do more of these, so stay tuned. All right. Peace.